Bridge, and here we are sitting underneath this beautiful walnut tree that needs trimming back, I hear.
Yeah.
But Dr. Butch's Essence of Walnut is all about change, and it's about protecting us while we go through those changes and not being under the influence of other people. So probably interesting that we're starting our talk today with this, because everything that you've been doing here is about changing the way people think about their lifestyle, about the land, about their daily household habits. And you came in this place really with a blank canvas, and I've got some really interesting pictures to prove what you started from. And today you're going to take us on a journey of what you've been doing for the last 3 months, which is life transforming on every level, isn't it?
Certainly is, yeah.
So where do we start?
Done amazing things. I'd like to start by talking about the journey to a more sustainable and wholesome life, which through working with plants and the landscape and the environment, we can learn an awful lot about how we can change our lives and change our mindset from the way we've been programmed over the last, sort of 50 or 60 years. Mm-hmm. 6 generations of programming that we've all gone through to, come away from the consumer-driven lifestyle that is so harmful to humans and the land that we are so reliant on for our livelihoods and for our lives. I came to permaculture through organic growing, a love of herbs actually, looking for healing, through various different problems with skin and things like that, and health in general, looking at plants and how they can help us alter our health in a very, very deep and profound way. And through learning how to grow a few plants in few containers in an urban environment, to then going on and working with allotments and other people's gardens and working together as communities to share space and time with each other, found permaculture, which is all about looking at our lives as a permanent fixture, and because that's what they are, on this earth we are a very, very solid and permanent fixture, the human race, and actually seeing how we can nurture and create a more bonded culture, hence permaculture, permanent and culture, the two words that come together to form the one. Permaculture basically explores nature and our relationship within the natural environment, and using nature as the teacher of all life. And our earth and our planet and our plants, our animals, our trees, our insects, our soil, it teaches us how we all fit together.
So this is about people's relationship with the land and their environment.
Yeah.
And it's about recognising the patterns that are in nature and how we can replicate those patterns within our own lives, within our own communities, with our economy, with, looking at the whole broad scale, local to global level. Okay. But the issues that we face now are we've got to look small, we've got to start small. And what we're trying to do at Willow Bridge is show very different scales of interacting with nature, from very, very small containers that we'll see shortly to, an allotment-sized plot of land, and then beyond that to smallholding scale. Right. So what we can demonstrate here is, that anybody, no matter how small a plot you have, whether it's a windowsill or some containers on the back step, to a garden that you just fill with abundant vegetables and herbs and trees and things like that, to an allotment, to a schoolyard, to a college campus, to your offices at work, yes, and beyond to a community farm, where a community can come together and actively work a piece of land that is large enough to support that community. We're looking at securities as against insecurities, because in our climate, and I don't really talk about the weather climate because we're all very, very much aware that we can't govern the climate weather-wise, you know. Climate is a cyclical thing.
A bit like emotions.
It's very much like emotions and the flows of the tide, you know, the rising and of the moon and the setting of the sun, and it's all, that is what our planet is about. You know, our planet will do what it does, and it has done for millennia since its first inception. So what we need to sort of really think about is, how are we as humans going to evolve? How are we going to survive the changes that we are in and that we are facing in the future now?
In harmony with those cycles.
Exactly, exactly. So it's not about fighting climate change, because the word fighting is a very aggressive and very offensive sort of thing. It's more about looking at what's happening and going, okay, how can we work with this so that we have a harmonious relationship with the changes that we're going through, rather than going, oh, this is it's so scary, you know, climate change is really bad, and the government's not doing anything to help us, and all this stuff. It's getting fear-based. I'm going to say it's getting through that fear point and actually turning the fear into a positive action for change, and you know, working with a thing called the transition movement is all about positivity and change at a local level. You know, right in your very heart of your neighbourhood, of your community, there is so much power by using the community and bringing it all together to make positive change and work together instead of being so isolated. You know, you look at cities and you look at villages and you look at towns and you look at the country, and you can actually see, once you take a step back from that and look as though you're an impartial bystander or an observer, you can actually see patterns that reflect so much fear, you know, that it's all based on fear. And this is driven from very, very high up in the government and very high up in corporate level.
And it's very divisive.
It's very divisive. And that is, the corporations and the government actually thrive on feeding people with fear. Whereas people actually become very sick and very disconnected from what's real because they're so scared. So what better to do is to actually empower yourself through doing very, very small changes to your life, and then leading those changes through to other people and sharing that energy to actually say, I'm not going to be scared anymore, because I myself am going to make changes that make me feel healthy and happy and whole. And therefore, if I do that, it's like dropping a pebble in a pond. Other people can see, and it will ripple out, you know, and then that is how you affect positive change, you know. And if you start just by doing a bit of gardening, and then sharing some gardening time with other people that may be less able to garden.
Which is all part of our FEW programme with Alan, our coach.
Yeah.
So it all fits in together.
It does, absolutely. It's totally connected.
Dawn, would you give us a guided tour so that, I mean, our families here all take something back that is special with them, that they can start and then they can share theirs and celebrate their successes with that. Can you show us the guided tour of what we can do very, very simply to what we can do on a community level, which is what you and Ant created?